as of Friday and onward, I'm going to still be here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I don't know what I'm doing yet, because the bottom line is, I told you guys, I have no money. I literally have $0 to my name right now. 0. So I can't afford any games. I was going to play Untitled Goose Game, except that last night I got the notification that I have no money, and I was like, that really sucks. You know, every day the money I get from tips, I'm transferring to my bank account. So essentially, I'm overdrawn. For them to tell me that I have that, you know, the notice that you are, you know, no balance or whatever. So I don't have money for it right now. I want to play it. It's only $15 supposedly, but the money that was given to me yesterday for it, I already had to put towards paying bills. You know, that's more important. So
doing the best we can, one day at a time. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News Second Edition. I'm your host. Let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are doing well. And let's not go ahead and draw that out. Outside of just hopefully you guys are doing all right. Let's go ahead and get into our situation at hand, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, in the quest for history, if you will, when it comes to Goutopia and Goutopian lore, you go where the stories are, I suppose, right? And that's going to take you to some channels that you may not have heard or you may not be familiar with. That's what I plan to bring you today, and at least a couple of days moving forward, with some channels that you might not have heard of, or you may have only heard of in passing, so on and so forth. These are detractors who have came in and made some content for a little while, then moved on to other stuff, or whatever the case may be, but I think we should spotlight what they've done. So as you guys know, the routine, the link to all the videos that I use will be down in the description, so you can check them out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring you a video brought to us by James Cash. DSP/KO Gaming tries it. Randomness. Conspiracy theorists. Losing views. And Twitter nonsense. This is from February 12th of 2016. Now, you guys know we're coming off of 2015, which was a pretty interesting year for Phil and his general nonsense and whatnot, and hopefully we can keep the trend going as we jump back and forth through Goutopian lore and in history in a lot of ways. As you know, this is kind of a learning lesson. It's a bit of a learning process, but certainly a lesson for all of us. So, you know, any feedback that you guys have or anything like that is always welcome, and let's just go ahead and have a good time with it. I don't have any other PSAs except for thank you to the few of you who have reached out to me, and as it pertains to Paul W. You know Paul, he's a friend of ours, and who have decided to pick up his new book. You guys seem to really like it. DSP in the Quest of the Golden Boar. I'm really glad people are happy with it. And myself and a few of the members here have ordered some copies, and so on and so forth. So I already know I'm going to like what I have. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And like I said, I hope that this is the start for Paul in a collection of short stories and whatnot. So I really want to see it to be I really want to see it successful, and I want to see him successful by proxy. So the link to the Amazon link will be down in the description. It'll lead you. The link initially will lead you to the Kindle version if that's what you're into, or if you'd like the paperback, which is also available, you can just go ahead and click on paperback and it'll take you right to that. And like I said, thank you guys for any of you who have decided to give him a shot. He appreciates it. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. So thank you very much for that. Like I said, the link to that Amazon page will be down in the description, as well as Paul W's Twitter page is down in the description as well. If you want to shout him out or say, hey, thank you for what you wrote, or so on and so forth. I'm sure any feedback he would very much appreciate it, as we would. Let's see here. Anything else? Big ups to Snortbucks Coffee. Big ups to the Goutopia Museum of Unnatural Art. Big up to Sunspot Gallery. Big ups to everybody. Big ups to all of you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's not stand around unceremonial. Let's go ahead and get into the situation at hand. This is DSP News 2nd edition. I'll see you guys in a few. Here we go.
A small idea of what I've been going through today. It's been the most random friggin' day I think I've ever had in a long time. And don't get me wrong, this is not something super negative at all. This is such...
Whenever you hear it's not super negative, it usually leads into something. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with James Cash. DSP/KO Gaming tries it. Randomness, conspiracy theorists, losing views, and Twitter nonsense. This is from February 12th of 2016. You already know what goes on. I don't have to say it. You know what I'm saying? Let's cook.
A mishmash and mix of random stuff that's happened in the past 2 hours that I've been conscious. That I just feel like I have to share this with you. And being that I played a few different games this week, I played Naruto, and then I went ahead and I played Unravel. I didn't know if I was going to get to it. I had no idea if I was actually going to get to this game or not, and a lot of people were disappointed, and they were almost kind of spamming me this week saying, are you playing Firewatch? Why didn't you play Firewatch? Firewatch. I even had one guy, I love these conspiracy theorists, one guy literally said this on Twitter the other day, you'll love this one. Phil, your plan has backfired. You purposely played Unravel instead of Firewatch because Unravel was published by EA, and you thought that it would get big views. Therefore, your plan has backfired. You are all about money. Ha ha ha. Take that.
Now, he's chuckling about it, but I think I can give you an example that's close to it. All right, you guys ready? Let's get it. So, you guys remember the Mario Sunshine saga? When Phil basically put it up there as a patron's choice. No, it was... Oh, no, I was right. It was a patron's choice. He got paid $1,250 to play this game. And, excuse me. Got $1,250 to do a patron's choice. The game that won was Mario Sunshine. The second game was Spyro. Keep that in mind because that's going to be important. At the time that Phil is doing this poll, right, he's playing two other Mario games. He's playing Mario plus Rabbids, and he's playing Mario Odyssey. So Mario Sunshine ends up winning. Phil immediately says, this is, okay, there's too much Mario going on right now. I understand that Mario Sunshine won, but I really can't be playing it right now. There's already two Mario games, two brand new releases that I'm already playing. There's no point in me playing 3 Mario games. Then, as the situation started to evolve and as pre-streams go on, he basically, I mean, we already knew this, but he comes out and says, okay guys, this is the deal. I'm playing 2 Mario games already. There's no point in me playing Mario Sunshine now. Because for one, I'm already playing 2 brand new Mario games. 2, I can't monetize the videos on YouTube. I'm not going to get paid for these playthroughs outside of the support that you guys are giving me on stream. And 3, it's just too much Mario. It's just too much. So I'm not going to play Mario Sunshine right now. Let me finish these 2 playthroughs. Let's see what new games come up. Eventually I'll play it. That eventually evolves into, okay guys, here's the deal. I'm telling you guys, I'm already playing 2 Mario games. I know it sounds like a broken record because it was. Well, that number broken record too, but you know what I mean. I'm already playing 2 Mario games. I can't monetize those games, and it's already too much Mario. So here, I'll make a compromise with you. I acknowledge that Mario Sunshine won the poll, right? It won the Patron's choice, and I will play it. But yet again, I can't monetize these Mario games because of Nintendo and YouTube, yada yada yada, wah wah wah. So I'm going to play Spyro, which came in second on the poll. That's why I said to keep that in mind. I'm going to play Spyro, okay? So this way I can play something, I can monetize it and put it on YouTube. And then when things die down a little bit and whatnot, then I will play Mario Sunshine, okay? So you guys are actually getting 2 games out of this instead of just the one. Okay, guys? That's my compromise to you. Then he started pushing it back. And then he started pushing it back. Then he started coming up with all these excuses on why he wasn't going to be able to play it, and so on and so forth. Now, keep in mind, while all this is going on, he already has the $1,250. He already has their cash, man. But he's giving excuses now that he has the money on why he can't play. And the detractors, critics, trolls, and haters step in. They basically put the fire under his fan base, and his fan base kept pushing, and then we ended up getting Mario Sunshine. And Phil was big mad about it throughout that whole goddamn playthrough, even to going as far as saying, you know, I told you guys I was going to eventually play this. I don't know why you're letting these detractors come in and do all this, but you guys better support me on stream, yada yada yada, whatever. He still played it, so people eventually got what they wanted, even though he weed and bitched the whole way through, going as far as saying, oh well, I don't know what console I can play it on, I don't know if it's on virtual console, and all these excuses. To make a long story short, he had to pay about $135, $140 to get the peripherals to finally play Mario Sunshine. But that's not a big deal, ladies and gentlemen, because he got $1,250 to play it. You got to spend money to make money. So why he was bitching about any of that is something amazing in itself. We'll end up going through that later on down the line. With that being said, and that happened in what, 2017, I think. Yeah, that was in 2017 because I think that was in well, not that complete situation, I don't think, but a clip of Mario Odyssey, sorry, Super Mario Odyssey, was actually in the artist formerly known as Secret Life of DSP's worst moments of 2017. So yeah, that was 2017 when that situation happened. So just to give you guys some preference. So for him doing this, and I guess this was in 2016, that's not that much of a stretch. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of backstory, if you will. But let's go ahead and hear more about the madness, right? Right.
Yes, absolutely. He's 100% right. Obviously, because Unravel, a game made by a little rinky-dink game studio that no one heard of until E3 last year, a QT platformer, even though it really isn't QT at all once you actually start playing the game. I played that because it was published by EA, which I didn't even know until I started playing the game. Wow. Some people just really are on some crazy shit. Let me tell you, they are fucking hitting that bong really hard. I don't even know where you could get this kind of stuff. How you can make a...
I don't know if that's necessarily true, per se. The reason why is because when Phil used to do E3s, we're not going to get an E3 this year, but when Phil usually does E3s, he usually takes notes. And based off the E3 event itself, usually is the determining factor on whether he plays the game or not. But then again, this is 2016. I don't know if he actually went off the opinions of people on Twitter like he does now. Something tells me he did. It's just in recent years he acknowledged it. So he would have an idea of who the studio is, and if it is a brand spanking new game that has a lot of hype around it, he would more likely initially play it. Phil has always been a hype whore. I don't want to call him a hype beast because, you know, most hype beasts are successful. Kind of, sort of, whatever. So I'm going to call him a hype whore instead. And that horse sticks better, and, you know, that's what he thinks of Review Tech USA. So it's only fair for me to say that about Phil. You know, tomato, tomato. So that's a thing. So under those circumstances, and just how Phil deals with brand new games coming out, right? I wouldn't find that to be too much of a stretch. Now, granted, there are some exceptions in the fact, semantics, of course, but there are some exceptions in the fact that, oh yeah, I'm thinking about this game right here, and someone in the chat's like, well, they're made by such and such studio, or such and such game developer from another project's done it. Most of those things he probably won't know, but generally, if it's from a big publisher, he would know that. That's not too far off of the mark. But let's give him a little wiggle room, and we'll see where we play this all out. You know, it might be riveting, maybe.
A connection that because of a game publisher is EA, that I would think more people would watch a play. I don't know. I'm just at a loss for words at this point. Let's get back to my story. All right. Well, actually, first of all, Yellow Knife in the stream chat is saying that YouTube did an audit, and it looks like I lost millions of views today. No, I didn't notice that. And quite honestly, it makes zero sense, because how do you take away views? It doesn't sound to me like YouTube did any kind of an audit. It sounds to me like YouTube doesn't know what they're doing as usual, which I wouldn't be surprised. I certainly would not be surprised, because many of you may not know this, YouTube has not had correct views since November of last year. There was an entire week during the month of November of 2015 where views didn't even count. Like, some videos had views, some videos didn't. And YouTube's been saying ever since then that views are completely wrong. There's no way you can, like, even if they subtract views, it doesn't mean someone didn't watch your video. It just means that YouTube doesn't know how to count, which is not news to me. Being that I've been on YouTube since 2008, I could tell you firsthand YouTube doesn't know how to count. I know for a fact they don't. It makes no sense. It literally makes no fucking sense, okay? So, you know, who knows? Apparently everyone is saying that everyone lost a bajillion views overnight. I don't know. I haven't checked. I really don't give a shit. You know? It makes no sense at all. It doesn't matter, because the thing is, you know, it's the way that it works is you get paid off of new views. Just so you know, or off of ad revenue. Okay? It depends. Some people have view-based contracts, some people have ad revenue-based contracts. If you get paid off...
Now wait. Now, if any of you guys have been here for a little while, or you've been following me for any point in time, I pointed out that when Phil's gravy train stopped, not everybody else's did. Let me explain. So, in 2012, when Phil's contract with Machinima was negotiated, the first, and I argue his only real contract negotiation, when they moved him from view base to ad base, he said, oh, well, you know, I was really upset by this, but, you know, just about everybody's now on that program, and I was kind of one of the last people that were holding out, or eventually people will, you know, get moved on to that, so I guess it's no big deal, I'll just accept it and move on. The first time I had actually heard him say that, it must have been in a Snortbucks video, obviously. I had said that there were still people for years afterwards that still had view-based contracts, or they had like a hybrid between a view-based / ad-based contract, depending on how big they were in Machinima or any of these other MCNs, and how they negotiated or structured their contracts. So I had been propagating that for a little while now. So the fact that Phil is admitting in 2016 that that's still kind of a thing is not shocking, but I think I don't know. I just thought I'd point it out. Nitpicking, of course. Semantics.
Of views, right? You get paid off of new views. So, for example, let me give you some perspective here. Back in, what was it? September of 2015, I had a massive dip in views on DSP Gaming because I had to delete some multiple hundreds of videos for...
We've already gone over this. You know what I'm saying? All the videos that were deleted. We've gone over that. Okay, you guys have seen the videos. If not, don't worry. It's in a playlist and whatnot. Where, you know, Phil had to delete stuff over an intro that was made on the King of Hate vlogs, which ended up spilling over to DSP Gaming, and then we had to delete more videos on DSP Gaming to cover up the fan art, the troll art. You know what I'm saying? So we're getting our third piece of conferments over 3 videos. It's a thing.
Copyright bullshit. All right. And my channel showed as losing 3 million views, but I still made money that month. You know, Now, if you're on an ad revenue contract, it doesn't matter at all. Your ad revenue is your ad revenue. It doesn't matter if YouTube subtracts views or not. The ad revenue you made was the ad revenue you made. So,
okay. So moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, another part of the mythos when it comes to these false copyright strikes / claims or whatever is the amount of the video. The amount of videos doesn't necessarily matter, but given he said he had to, just off the Jackie Chan situation, he had to delete like 300 plus views, and then the Be Awesome One stuff, talking like another like 400 to 700. So we're almost at like 1,000 videos. He's saying 3 million views. I've heard others say as many as like 6 or 7 million views. But we'll use this as our starting point, and as we continue to go back into Phil's past, hopefully we can kind of narrow that down to a definitive number, right? To a definitive number. That's what we're looking for. But right now, we're at 3 million views. Excuse me. We're at about 3 million views. All right?
either way, it's not an issue. It's just people's view counts, I guess, went down or whatever overnight. That's just one of the random things that I'd like to bring up. So that's one of the random things that happened. That actually was like the least one on my mind. So I wake up this morning, and there's a whole bunch of Twitter nonsense going on. I just want to warn any of you who do follow me on Twitter. Probably for the next day or so, there's going to be a bunch of ridiculous, just silly, childish shit going on Twitter that I don't want to be a part of. I as you know, I use Twitter for business-related purposes primarily, and every once in a while, I'll send out some kind of a personal tweet about something that's not business-related. But I use Twitter way more for business, you know, telling you when my streams are live, telling you when videos are going live and in playlist, my daily schedule. That's far more important to me than any kind of silly shit on Twitter, which, you know, tons of people use Twitter for just stupid shit. You know, just insane internet meme style nonsense, and I'm not into that shit. You know, but, I'll just forewarn you, if you are following me on Twitter, in the next day or so, there may be some complete ridiculous nonsense. There's still hundreds of people sending me stupid tweets that I'm ignoring because I have better things to do than sit here on Twitter and listen to garbage and just waste of time when I have work to do. You know what I mean?
Oh, how the times have changed. Because now, when he's on Twitter, he's not really on... When he's on Twitter, he's not really on Twitter, right? Like, he is, but he's not. Let me explain. When he's on Twitter, he's usually watching what the bigger streamers and bigger influencers, if you will. I mean, Phil calls them shills, but influencers. And reviewers. He's checking out what they're doing. He gets pretty much all of his daily world news off Twitter. And he's pretty much scoping out detractor Twitter to see what's going on. That's essentially it. That's kind of his day on Twitter and whatnot. And then Kiwi Farms, of course. He's really not that busy. If one was to really break down Phil's day, you know what I'm saying? It's really, really, really not that busy. Let me give you a somewhat example for any of you guys who watch Almighty Tevin. Praise be. Look at Amberlynn Reed, for example. Look at Chantel, for example. Look at how these people essentially conduct their day. They don't do shit. You know, you get a video, or if you get a video a day out of them for like 14 days in a row, you're kind of lucky. But other than that, they don't have jobs. They don't have really anything. Like, they don't have anything to do. You know what I'm saying? Hence the reason why, well, a lot of things. But they don't, that explains a lot of things. But they have nothing to do, right? They have nothing to occupy their time, nothing to occupy their space. They have no interests. They have no hobbies. The only thing they really have in their lives are trolls. That's it. They don't really have anything else. So when they're not recording a video of mukbangs, or, well, they can't do much of anything else now since we're kind of all on quarantine, so to speak. All they can do is watch detractor content. You know what I mean? Or hater content. Matter of fact, Chantel, for example, had commented that recently she saw a video on her that's starting to make its rounds. It's doing really well from a view standpoint. She's been commenting on that video. Amberlynn Reed is over there on Instagram talking about, well, throwing low, I guess, sneak dissing at Zachary Michael. So, kind of, sort of. Or jabs, I guess, more than like sneak disses. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. They don't have anything else. You know what I'm saying? All they have is the quote-unquote negativity online. They don't have anything else. Phil's no different. Wings is no different in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? Wings talks about it rather often, how he's on Reddit, seeing what's going on. And you know, Wings is a big pariah on Reddit to an extent. Certainly bigger than DSP, at least in some ways. That's all these people kind of have. Which is the reason why they're classified as lolcows. You know what I mean? The only thing that they're really ingesting and shitting out is from the very people who hate on them. They don't have much of anything else. As depressing as that may sound, that is their existence. And then you get into a situation like now where we're kind of like, we're not really on lockdown yet, but you know what I mean? Like we're all kind of like on like quarantines for the most part. They can't move around the way they want to move around. They're kind of confined to certain spaces or whatnot. They don't get to interact with people around them. You know what I'm saying? Or people like they meet in the grocery store or in the fast food restaurant or whatever. Where any other day they would be burdened, right, by how many people are in front of them going to Cheesecake Factory, and now they can't even go to Cheesecake Factory, for example. Or if they do, they have to take it to go. They can't sit there and kind of have the ambiance that they're used to. Things like that. And that's kind of what their existences have been reduced to. It's amazing when you think about it, and yet it makes it maybe not tragic, but even though one could consider it so, but it certainly makes it that much more depressing. And so you can see why people would have sympathy for them or would empathize with them in some way, shape, or form. But once things go back to normal and they all go back to being assholes and ass clowns, all of that's going to disappear. Something to think about.
So that's just one thing. My Twitter's being bombarded with nonsense. So that's one thing I'm dealing with. And then I wake up and I'm getting messages. Let me give you a little bit of perspective here. I'm not going to fully, explain too much behind the scenes here of, what goes on with, my agreements with places like Machinima and YouTube and stuff like that. Let me just put it this way. All right. There's been a big discrepancy between YouTubers and YouTube ongoing since late last year. And it's been an ongoing thing. And basically, in other words, a lot of YouTubers seem to be owed a lot of money. Meaning, it looks like YouTube fucked up and didn't do things properly in the year of 2015. And because of that, a lot of YouTubers actually ended up being underpaid near the end of the year. And it's been kind of an ongoing thing is, how much, realistically, how did our businesses do? It's not just me. It's a bunch of YouTubers have been affected by this. And you probably haven't heard much about it because, we don't like to talk too much about behind-the-scenes financial shit unless it directly affects the viewer. But this is just part.
If that's the case, how was it that in 2017, when you told us about your tax problems and your tax issues, how does that directly affect the audience? Now, most of you would probably be like, oh, come on, GTG. He said that shit because he's going to threaten that his content's going to go away or he's going to lose his house or whatever the case may be. So what? He can stream from an apartment. He can stream from his mama's house if he has to. That doesn't mean anything. So that's not an excuse. So yet again, I want you guys to think back a little bit on any time Phil brought up financial issues and how that actually affected the pig cult, the pig pen. You know what I'm saying? His paid piggies. How did that really affect them? How did that really affect them? How did his financial issues, let's reword that. How did his financial issues really affect them? Outside of essentially because of his financial issues and coming out and telling them about it, put a burden on them to help him financially. But what was the initial burden that made it their problem? You know what I'm saying? Phil's financial irresponsibilities itself, that's not fair. That's not fair that they should have to pick up his slack. But right here, he's kind of making it sound like, hey, I only come to you guys when I fuck up. And if I fuck up, theoretically, you guys fucked up. So you guys got to fix this. And that's kind of been his ebb and flow, I think, since he started, to be honest with you. Even when money was good, he cried up to people about views, so he could keep his income up. And he only did that so he could keep his lifestyle the way it was, which was basically spend, and not save a goddamn thing. It's funny how this man has the nerve to say throughout 2015, or no, 13 or 14. He moved in 2014, as you guys know. In 2013, he was talking about wanting to have like an office space and do all of that. Then the office space turned into him buying a house. But in actuality, if he had saved his money from, I don't know, as early as 2010, maybe even 2009 when he was at the helicopter company, he would have had a stronger financial foundation when it was time to buy that house later on down the line, no matter where he purchased it. He didn't do that. He basically tried to get everything on credit or on loans. Like, he didn't want to if anything else, Phil is more than willing to spend other people's money or have other people put up the collateral. Let's reword that. Or have other people give him credit to do what he wants to do, and then he's very hesitant or even very reluctant to even pay their money back. He'll do anything and everything for the most part on somebody else's dime, but he won't do anything with his own money. Isn't that weird? Ain't that strange? Like, for example, he is allegedly using his money to continue to pay his mortgage in Washington, right? Or on the Washington condo or the Wakanda. But if you think about it, that WWE money, which should go to his creditors or should go to the Connecticut condo, we're spending that on WWE champions. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that just wild when you think about it? So when it's his money, he'll do what he has to do to keep going, so to speak. But when it's other people's money or other people's charitable donations or contributions, he'll spend that on everything he wants to spend it on, instead of what he needs to spend it on. Isn't that nuts? That's kind of crazy, ain't it? Semantics, though. Semantics. DSP News.
Part of the randomness that happened today, so I just want to give you some perspective here. All right. So for months, a lot of YouTubers have kind of been like, we don't know what's going to happen. You know, what happened with YouTube at the end of the year? It seems like YouTube screwed up. YouTube has had absolutely no answers for anyone. We've been waiting over 2 months for answers, got no answers. They just keep saying they're working on it, they're working on it, they're going to fix it, okay? So the bottom line is, it looks like a lot of people got shafted at the end of 2015, who do YouTube full-time, who make their money based off of YouTube performance and stuff like that. All of a sudden this morning, I get this payment from Machinima that makes absolutely no sense. I don't know if this is money that I was owed from last year from the screw-up of YouTube. I don't know if this is something completely different. I don't even know what this is. And I'm staring at it like, what is this? You know? And it's kind of like, when you get something like that, you feel so like, you know, it feels like, I don't know what this is. Is this a gift? Is this a screw-up? Is this...
Now, I want you to think about this. I want you to listen to him really close when he's saying all this. So basically, he got paid before he was supposed to be paid, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not the time of the month for him to be paid yet, which is like the 15th, I think, is when YouTube pays him. He ends up getting a check out of nowhere and he's trying, not really trying. You can see him, you can kind of hear his enthusiasm about the amount. So I would assume it's a decent amount. It's probably a pretty good amount. A good amount of money that was sent to him unexpectedly. Instead of him, if he was really curious about it, if he really wanted to have an inquiry into what the situation is, he would just contact one of his, his contacts at Machinima and ask. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're going to sit here and be like, well, what's this? Like, what's this for? Is this a gift? Since when does your job give you a large financial gift, idiot? Is this a mistake? Maybe. You could call and find out. But if none of those things are something that, fancies you in any way, shape, or form, how about you go ahead and cash that bitch, put it in the bank, and let it sit there? Because since it's money that you weren't expecting, then that's money you could use to plan for in case shit happens. But we didn't do that. We didn't do that at all. He's almost slobbering at the snout to how him and Panda were going to spend that money, which I'm assuming is what happened. I bet you dollars to donuts that's exactly what happened. Instead of taking this as an opportunity to be like, all right, let's say, I'm going to make an assumption because I have no clue how much it is. Let's say it's an extra $5,000 to like $7,000. Okay, we're up $7,000, let's say. Let's put this shit in the bank and keep it there when we finally really need it. You know what I'm saying? And then kind of just keep trucking along like this is no big deal. Now, as a bit of a caveat to that, maybe he should call and ask, hey, what is the actual situation behind this payment or whatnot? You know what I mean? Now, when you do that, you're gambling a little bit, because if it is an actual mistake, you know, Mishimo's going to want their money back. If it's an actual, if it's something that they owe you, then you have nothing to lose either which way. But I think, honestly, in that situation, it pays off to be honest and find out what that's about. Maybe it's an advancement on your money. You know what I mean? Like maybe, you know, for whatever reason, they may not be able to pay you on time, or there's going to be a delay for certain partners, so they're just going to pay you up front now. Whatever. And so, but then again, he's not saying, and I've kind of jumped the gun a little bit, he hasn't said that this is, you know, the equivalent, to what I normally make. So with that being said, that's letting me think that that's bonus money. That's extra money. And yet again, we didn't save not a goddamn lick of it. At all. It's amazing when you think about, for all of the blunders and for all of his idiocy, which he has plenty of that, excuse me. It's amazing the opportunities that he's had, and the breaks, if you will, that he's had, the reprieves, if you will, from reality, where things kind of just fall into his lap. And yet, ladies and gentlemen, he still figured out a way to squander it. He still figured out a way to screw it up in ways that I couldn't explain it. I couldn't explain to you even if I wanted to, because I don't even fully understand it. But I know that he did it. I may not get it. I may not get how he did it, but I know he did it. Semantics, though.
Is this something I'm owed? Is this something that I don't even know what this is? I'm just so like flabbergasted. And by the way, no, it's not like Machinima said, "Oh, here's $1 million." No, that's not what happened. You know, but I was just like, well, I don't understand this. And so I'm scratching my head. I'm like, what is this money? I get random money. Is this money that I have to spend? Is this a fuck up that I shouldn't spend? I certainly could, you know, use it to pay bills. I don't know what this is. Very confused. I'm very, very confused. So I sent them a message this morning, you know, not knowing exactly what the heck was going on. So it was just one random thing that happened, right? And as this is happening, I get an email. This is just how much random shit happened. I get an email from someone who says, "Phil, I pledged to your Patreon for January, and I need to know if it went through. I'm very confused." And I said, "Well, that's bizarre. It's the 12th. You would think that if someone pledged to my Patreon in the month of January, that would have been, you know, charged or processed the first few days of the month." So I said, you know, give me your info, give me your email and all that. So I get all the info. I go and I check on Patreon. Lo and behold, Patreon pledge or processed their pledge today. Now this person now is owed perks. So now I'm like, well, I already went through everyone and you know and got all the perks and stuff, you know, divvied out earlier last week. But I will do my best to try to get you your perks. I have no clue why Patreon would have just done this so late. It makes no sense, and now I'm kind of nervous, because if this was just one guy, how many other people could this possibly happen to? As I told you guys publicly a couple weeks ago, Patreon this month, well last month, there were 30 people who were declined. That's the most ever. So you telling me maybe this was a screw up by Patreon, and now they're going to start processing people super late? I have no idea. I'm so confused. So all this is happening, right? All this random shit is happening. Then
Let me jump in real fast. So it's funny how the constant businessman, the person who's been doing this for, you know, 8 or 9 years at this point. Well, no, not even that. Shit. This is 2016. So he's been doing it for like 6 or 7 years at this point, so to speak. You would think he would be on top of these things. He doesn't have anything else to do. All you have to do is sit down, play games poorly, and then keep on top of the different ways that money comes into you. That's it. That's it. And keep in mind, YouTube, what's this, 2016. So YouTube is still like the primary focus. At least at this point in 2016, I'm sorry. This is February. He didn't go back to Twitch until what? Like October, November of 2016, I think. We did a video where we talked about that briefly. So that's a thing, and that's still a few months off. he doesn't have anything else to draw his attention. The thing is, though, is 2016 was like the last of the glory years, though, where him and Panda were going out all the time and spending money like, that shit was water, bottled water, right? Because, because Phil only drinks tap water now out of his faucet in the bathroom, so to speak. That was the glory years still, or it was the end of the glory years. That was like the end of the golden age, if you will, of Goutopia and whatnot. Even though I don't know if Panda had a job yet, though, at this point. You'd have to ask Tevin about that lore. We're not there yet. But that's a thing. It's not hard to keep track of the different avenues that you have money coming through. YouTube, PayPal, YouTube, Patreon, PayPal, because I'm sure people were sending him donations directly to PayPal. And then, I guess, like Lootbox or Loot Crate, One-Up Box, and Teespring. For the most part, that's it. That's what I can think of. And that's not a lot to manage. But yet, he still figured out a way to fuck it all up. He's still not on top of shit. He can tell you that he needs additional support, but he can't tell you he can tell you all the places where you can give him this additional support. But he himself can't even really keep track of all of it. That's amazing. And then now, it's being brought up thanks to, I think Nick Rekieta, of Rekieta Law brought it up, that when you get a donation through Streamlabs, and then you get like a donation, I guess, that goes through PayPal, that's like two different processes, like processing or ways of processing a tip, right? So you could have money in you get your money through PayPal, right? Or you're getting donations to PayPal. You may have money in your Streamlabs, and unless you've told Streamlabs to directly send that to your PayPal or to a bank account of your choice, it's literally just sitting there accumulating. And who knows how much money could be in there if you don't look at these things. With that being said, not to say that Phil would know that or wouldn't know that, but let's say Phil didn't. He could have hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, in Streamlabs and not know it, depending on how, like I said, whoever the individual was donates to them. To him, I should say. So that's an amazing thing in itself. It's just, yet again, it's just wild shit. And for someone who tries to make himself seem like he's so busy all day, every day, in actuality, he's not doing anything. And he kept this charade up for years. He still keeps it up now, even though we know pretty much what he does every day. Silly stuff, though. All this to try to give the air of him, or the allure of him being a professional, and this being a real job, and it's really hard, and all of these things. Come on, man. For other YouTubers who actually give it effort, sure. Or other Twitch streamers who actually put effort into it, or just, not Twitch streamers, but, any streamer. Sure, I believe that 100%. But not you, Phil. Never you. Ever. Forever, ever, forever, ever.
Sit down. I'm like, all right, well, I better start setting up my stream here because, I want to get Firewatch going. My laptop pops up. My laptop pops up and says, you need to do a mandatory Windows update. Now, let me tell you guys something. I disabled mandatory Windows update on my laptop when I bought it 3 years ago.
Now, this right here gets into the funny stuff. So, on the main channel, some people had asked me, it was like, is it really true that Phil don't like updating stuff like software and so on and so forth? Does he really not do these things on his laptop and his desktop? Yes. If you watched any of Tevin's streams in early 2019, you know this because Phil's complained about it. Matter of fact, when Phil had the issue with his mic, which was only recently, it was only in the last 6 to 8 months, let's say, so maybe semi-recently, I was watching Tevin's stream when this happened. The reason why is because there were updates for his microphone, and the idiot didn't click the updates. He didn't do any of them. And then by proxy, he would probably have to update OBS as well, which he barely ever does any of those things, so who knows what version of OBS he's running. And then he's already running a quote-unquote older, if one could even say outdated version of Windows, because he's running like Windows 7 or Windows 8. So, he's all behind. Now, his reasoning, though, is even more hilarious. Oh, well, I don't want to update anything or change anything on my laptop or my desktop because everything's set the way I want it to, and I don't want to mess anything up. Huh? There are certain updates there's certain updates or driver updates, if you will, or just general software updates that you can do that doesn't mess with any of your settings at all. And if it does, it'll be very particular, and a pop-up will come up for it. You just go back in and you switch it up. The problem is Phil doesn't know what any of his settings are. So he may have set it all once, like a year ago, and it's just been going the exact same way and whatnot. And because he's such a goddamn idiot and he's lazy, you know what I mean? He's constantly setting himself back, and he's making the software end up putting a strain on the hardware, and it's just making everything work so much more harder because this idiot doesn't want to do anything. I don't think he's completely incompetent in the fact that he doesn't know how to update his software. It's not like he has to go in and do any of the coding himself. He's just too lazy to do it. He swears to God, ladies and gentlemen, that he works all day long and he doesn't have time to do anything. But in actuality, he could have done all those updates before he goes to bed at night. That's something very reasonable. I can't remember if they said that. I know that his PS3 or his PS4, one of the two, he used to never even turn it off. He used to keep it on all night. It would literally run all damn day. Just because, I don't want to turn it off and I end up losing my saves or any silly shit like that. I would assume, I think for a while, weren't people saying, or I know I heard it somewhere, that he doesn't even turn his desktop computer off because he can't remember the password, I think because he can't remember the password, or he doesn't want to go through the trouble of logging in. It's something really, really minute and stupid. It's something really, really dumb. Like, it's a really, really dumb reason. So, so keep that in mind as well. This is what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. This is the piggy lore that you guys have come for. This is Goutopia. Well, we actually call it Snortopia here, but Snortopia, Goutopia, I mean, same shit. They're both funny.
I've since tried to re-enable disabling the mandatory Windows Update 2 other times. It doesn't work. I don't know what happened with this laptop. It just updates whenever it wants. There's some days I'll be like working.
Some of those updates, a lot of those updates, I think you kind of need. They're essential. You know what I mean? They're essential. But this idiot don't see that. He just looks at it as an inconvenience. Then all of a sudden, when shit don't work and he can't stream, it's everybody else's fault in the world. But not his enough. He did everything right. He did everything correct by disabling Windows updates. Womp womp.
And I'll get a fucking pop-up. You must restart now. Like, what? I didn't even get a notice telling me that I had to restart this thing. Mandatory update. Must restart now. Huh? And then sometimes, days ahead of time, I'll get a message that'll say, in 3 days, you need to restart this mandatory Windows update. I told it not to do updates. I don't want updates. It does them anyway. So now, okay, let me fumble around. So I'm restarting my laptop, and I'm getting the stream set up. And as I'm doing that, I come back to my laptop, and it's at a black screen. So now I'm like, okay, it's a black screen. Now what do I do? Do I unplug it? If I unplug it, it probably won't turn off because it has a battery inside. If I manually hold the power button, will it, brick the laptop? Because if I brick the laptop, I need the laptop. I do the laptop for tons of stuff. I use it to monitor the stream. I use it for stream chat. I use it for various things, obviously, when I'm not home. This is a very important piece of equipment for my business. If this laptop fries or bricks, I'm screwed. I don't have any money to go buy a new laptop.
So what happened? Now keep in mind, he bought that laptop when he was back in Connecticut. Used, by the way. So when we were going ahead and spending all those thousands of dollars, allegedly moving from Connecticut to Washington, and then we spent thousands and thousands of more dollars to furnish the house and get new appliances and all that stuff, and buying big screen TVs with the 3D shit gimmicks and all that, we never thought once that, you know what, I'm going to spend $3,000 to go ahead and buy me this lemon desktop. Maybe I should go ahead and throw a couple of $100s at a new laptop as well. I mean, if you're going to go, you might as well go all the way, right? So if you're going to buy a TV for your office, or you're certainly going to buy new consoles for your office, if you're going to buy a new desktop and whatnot, spend $3,000 on that. You never thought about maybe throwing another $700-800 at a new laptop as well? No. We're going to keep going with that used piece of shit because, well, I've been using it a long time and I don't want to mess with any of the settings. Okay, sure. And now look at where we're at. Oh, well, if this laptop bricks, I'm screwed. I'm fucked. And I don't have any money to do anything else. Despite the fact that you just told us that you end up getting, a surprise payment from Machinima. A surprise because it didn't fall on the normal day that you get paid. Maybe some of that right there, maybe some of those proceeds could go back into the business. Right? Right. See, it would make sense for the average person. But not Phil Burnell, though. That money is extra money. That's for me and Panda to go out and eat money. You know what I'm saying? That's for me to go out and spend on other little bullshit that I'm not going to care about. That's what that money's for. That's my rainy day money. You know what I mean? Because, he doesn't know what a rainy day fund is. He thinks that I'm not even going to go into that. That's just so stupid. It's so stupid, his definition of what a rainy day fund is. It's next level fuckery. It really is. So, and that's another big thing, too, that I also wanted to point out. As it pertains to some of these older videos. He talks about when he lost the helicopter job, his helicopter position, and he finally got himself kicked up out of the FGC or left or got ran out, whatever it was. And he comes to YouTube, I don't have to spend a whole lot here and whatnot, or I can focus my money now that I'm not doing the FGC stuff anymore to focusing here and focusing on the business. I can get way more out of it. But in actuality, he very rarely invested in this at all unless he really, 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 really had to. And even then, he overspent on a lot of things, like getting 3 different capture cards and only using one, and who knows where the other 2 went. And the only reason why he bought 3 capture cards, this is a nice piece of lore, is because he basically looked to his audience and was like, hey, does anybody know a good capture card to purchase? Someone recommended one, so he bought it. He went on Amazon, he purchased it. Then someone else recommended, this one's a really good one too. And then someone else recommended another one and said, this one I hear is really good too. So then he went and ordered those 3 as well, before he even got the first one in. Before the first one even arrived, probably before his transaction even cleared, he had ordered 2 more. And this is kind of how he used to spend his money. So we're going to throw a couple $100 at these 3 capture cards, but we still aren't going to purchase a new laptop. Even if it's not a top of the line one, even if it's only like $400, at least it's something. Couldn't even do that. Wanted to use this outdated piece of shit that used to take tournaments. And complained about how slow the laptop was back then. Wow.
I'm like, what do I do? It's just hanging at this black screen. So I took the chance. I took the plunge, as they say, and I held down the power button, and the laptop went into, of all things, standby mode. It didn't restart or turn off. It went to standby mode. I pressed it again, and it kind of turned on, but not really. So I mashed all the buttons, and then the screen turned on, and it said, now completing Windows Update. I was like, oh my god. So you're telling me if I didn't hold down the power button, which you're not supposed to do during a Windows Update, the update would have never completed. Oh, I'm face palming right now. You probably can't hear it. Here, hold on. Did you hear the audible face palm? I'm just like, what is happening? It's so bizarre. Oh yeah, another thing. I randomly forgot. We were sitting downstairs, Leanna and I, for a few minutes this morning having a coffee, right before I came up to get ready for work. And we're sitting there, and I'm like, something feels like we forgot something this week. I was like, didn't we buy lotto tickets earlier this week? And she's like, no. And I was like, no, I swear we did. And she's like, no, we didn't. That was...
First off, sorry, I had to step away for just a second. All right, so first off, the whole... you guys may not be able to hear this face palm. Basically, what he's trying to say is hoof to snout. So you guys should probably clip that. That's going to be worth something, maybe. I don't know. It might be a chuckle for something. That's the first thing. Secondly, being downstairs with Panda, having a coffee before I have to go to work, which goes back to that pathetic attempt I tried to tell you guys about earlier on, about him trying to legitimize this as an actual job. Or at least what he does, I should say, as an actual job. Absolutely hilarious, by the way. Absolutely hilarious. And then the third piece. This is the thing that Phil does even to this day, because it's always been something he's done for years, and he'll never stop. He'll never stop. He always has the hope that eventually it'll happen. Is our boy here is spending money on lotto tickets. Now the question is how much? Phil says, I throw only $1 or $2 at it a week. No. Because I think Phil plays lotto tickets, and then he probably plays scratch-offs too, if I had to guess. So now we have that. And I'm sure Phil has talked about playing scratch-offs. So that is a thing. So that's a, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother piece of lore that you can throw in there and surmise on how much he spends on lotto tickets each and every week. Because please believe, you can bet your last bottom dollar that he does spend money on lotto tickets. Just like when he used to, because matter of fact, I can actually add a piece of lore on top of that. When Phil used to drink the Mountain Dew Kickstarters, right? Doesn't drink them anymore. But, or at least not, he doesn't tell us he does anyway. But he used to drink Mountain Dew Kickstarters. Pretty much his whole time at Panda. I think right before Catherine got there, or after Catherine got there is when he stopped. He used to say that when they used to go out and get Kickstarters, he used to buy like 6 or 7 of them at a time. Basically enough for a couple of days, leading to the next day off. And then they'd buy some lotto tickets as well. It's a thing. It's a thing. Anyway, funny stuff all around.
A few weeks ago, and I'm like, no, I swear we bought lotto tickets this week. So we went into the kitchen and we opened her purse. We did buy lotto tickets this week, and we're like 3 days late to check the results. We're like, holy shit. So we checked the tickets, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm a millionaire. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. No, I'm not a millionaire, and no, I will never be that lucky. Trust me. But it was funny because when this happened, we checked it. Of course, we didn't win. Who wins the lotto, right? Certainly not that lucky of a person. But, here's the funny part. We check it, right? And I'm like, here's what would happen. Today's such a random day for me, right? If we had won the lotto, what would have happened was I would have won the lotto, and immediately, the second, like, we won the lotto. We're set for life. We're millionaires. We don't ever have to worry about financial problems again. Or like, holy shit. And then we look out, and immediately the saucers would land, the aliens would come down and just enslave the human race. That would be my luck. That would be my freaking luck. Someone just said, well, Phil wouldn't be streaming if he did win the lotto. Yes, I would. I would actually, I'll tell you right now, I'm not even kidding you. If I had won the lotto, right? If I had won the lottery, and I was a millionaire, I would still be streaming right now. Because the bottom line is this, I am the same person, at least, even though I've matured and grown over the years that I've done YouTube, I pride myself that I haven't completely changed. You know, a lot of people, oh, I got popular on YouTube, so now I'm a completely different person, I'm an upper class snooty person. No, I'm the same dude, and the bottom line is, I love games.
Now, this is the same guy, ladies and gentlemen, who said that he doesn't go to Walmart because that was beneath him and whatnot. That was beneath him. You know what I'm saying? We go to Fred Meyer's. We go to places like that. We don't have to go to the peasant. He didn't say peasant, but we don't have to. How he said it implies we don't have to go to places like Walmart and those cheap, you know what I'm saying, little El Cheapo places to buy our groceries. You know what I mean? We're all about supporting our local businesses, local growers. I don't want to get like blueberries from from like Istanbul or any shit like that or whatever. He went on a nice little tirade about it. I remember Tevin was laughing his ass off over that shit. Here's the reality. On a couple different fronts. One, if Phil won the lotto, let's say he won $5 million. For the average person, that would set you up for life. If you after you pay all of your debts and your taxes, you should be good for life. You and your family, I should say, to an extent. Living within your means. Not for Phil. Not for Phil. I guarantee it, dollars to donuts. $5 million would last him another decade, maybe. Maybe. Because with that much money, Panda's going to want to travel. And with the travel, she's going to want to buy a bunch of shit. And it's very easy just to kind of splurge shit up. And then as we all know now, in our current timeline, 2020, our current year of gout, Phil has a problem with paying his taxes. He apparently don't like doing that. And so with lottery winnings, he's going to have a real pissy time about paying money on them taxes each and every year. So that's a thing. On top of that, let's move over to would he stop streaming? I think he would just go back to doing YouTube. I think he would stream occasionally, but I think it'd be very sparingly. And if he was streaming, he would probably only do it if he was like on a trip or something. Like he'd be doing like a live vlog, if you will, of the trip that they're on. That's it. He wouldn't do it for any other reason. I would think his KO Gaming would probably blow not KO Gaming. KO Vlogs would probably blow up with a shitload of vlogs that he would try to swamp to that channel. And when Apocalypse and everything comes up, he would still make videos because he would gloat about how, well, you know, I'm a multimillionaire now. I don't have to worry about YouTube. I'm not dependent on it. I just do it as a hobby. I just do it because when I want to do it. For all these other YouTubers out here, oh, sorry. Hopefully you guys saved your money when you guys were pulling in those millions and millions of views, while the underdog, little guys like myself, you know what I'm saying, had to scrounge and had to make our way through YouTube because they deprioritized us. I guarantee you he would say something along those lines, or something very, very close. The money wouldn't last him long. That's the reality. That's the reality. Because if you win the lottery, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing you should do is go to a financial expert and get some advice. Secondly, pay, and I would assume most of them will tell you, pay off your debt. Any debt that you have, credit cards, outstanding loans, pay it all off. Pay it off clean. Pay it all off. Get it all up and out the way. You know what I mean? A lot of them will say that, you know, hey, are you trying to help your parents out? Do the same thing. Knock out all their debt and whatnot. But clean it up. You know what I'm saying? Clean all that up. Pay it all off. Get it out. Don't even worry about it anymore. So now you can get your credit score and everything up. Then after that, figure out what you want to do with your money. Do you want to travel? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to continue working? Do you maybe, instead of working full-time, do you want to work part-time? Things like this. Every little, you know what I'm saying? Things like this help. Especially once for a while, you might want to take a year off, right? After a year of not having to worry about money at all, you're going to be bored as fuck. At first, everybody thinks, oh man, I'm going to take like a month or two off. Or no, I'm going to take like a year or two off of shit, and then I'll go ahead and go back to work, or I'll go back to school and get into another career. All of these things. Boy, after like 2 months, I'll give you an example. I wasn't friends with the guy. He was just someone that we used to play ball with. But a friend of mine knew a guy who was, he was in college at the time, because we were literally just kids and whatnot. And he won the lottery. I don't remember how much he won. Doesn't really matter. But he won a lot of money while he was in college. And he was actually pretty reasonable about it, because he didn't tell anybody. He was smart. He didn't tell nobody nothing until he called a lawyer and he got all this shit together, because I remember he explained it to us later. And basically he got all his ducks in order. Got everything squared off. He decided to continue finishing school. And then he's like, he graduated. Then he's like, yeah, I'm going to take like 2 years off or whatever. And then I'm going to go back and I'll go back to school and pick up another trade. And maybe I'll start my own, like, I think he was into like motorcycles and like jet skis and shit like that. And he already had like a natural knack for that shit. So, because he used to work on cars with like, with some of our uncles and shit and other people that we knew. He was really handy. Really, that dude was really on point. But anyway, he said he was going to take some time off. Then he was going to go back or whatever. So, I think, like I said, he took like 2 months off, and he was bored out of his mind. And he ended up signing up for classes as soon as they became available. And then, like I said, he was kind of already, you know, pretty knowledgeable. So he ended up working for a shop like right away. And and he kind of sat us down and explained why. He was just like, I'm bored. He's like, when you realize that you have nothing to worry about, you've come to the realization that you have nothing to work towards. And that's the worst feeling. That is the worst feeling. You know what I mean? Imagine you being completely set. You have nothing to worry about. You know what I mean? Like at the time he was like 20. He might have been 21 at the time. So he's 21. He has no debt. You know what I mean? Now, well, he definitely doesn't have any debt now. All of his student loans are squared away. He has, let's say, a couple $1 million or whatnot. He's got nothing to worry about. And he's like, oh, I'm going to take 2 years off and so on. I'm going to do some traveling. I'm just going to chill. And he did do all that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But he didn't take, like, long extended trips or whatever. He went off to some places that he hadn't seen. But after 2 months, he was bored out of his mind. So either A, you start spending more and buying more shit to kind of crowd your spaces, which he didn't do, or you find things to do and you try to be productive. What do you think Phil's going to do? You got someone who's already a fucking loafer who's going to sit around and not do jack shit anyway. Now money is not an issue anymore. You think he's going to break his parents off with a couple $100,000? No. You think he's going to break off Panda's family with a couple $100,000? Hell no. And Panda's going to want to travel. She wants to go ahead and see the world. And in her early 20s, why wouldn't she? And Phil's going to like doing that for a while, but essentially, he's just going to want to go home and he's going to want to just chill and be lazy. But then what does that really do to help Phil? Because I want you to think about this, and I've said this before. It's not, money is a means to an end for Phil. At the end of the day, the urges that he has, the needs that he needs to satisfy is his ego. And how do you feed your ego? You need to be recognized. You need to have an audience. You need to have people that praise you. You have to have people who revere you, who respect you. And the only way he can do that is on YouTube or Twitch. That's the only place he's going to get an audience. No one really gives a shit if you win the lotto outside the people that are probably going to end up trying to take advantage of you in some way, shape, or form. People who owe money to, or your family in general. But outside of that, who cares? There are plenty of people who win the lotto. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, Phil won $5 million. Okay, he won $5 million. Good for him. After taxes, he walked away with what? After taxes, he walks with what? 3 point something? Give or take? Something along those lines. It's not the exact number, obviously, so don't crucify me too much. But you know what I'm saying? He's gonna lose a chunk of that shit. But so what? He'll still be a multimillionaire. Let's call that what it is. He'll still be a multimillionaire. So what? At a time where there were dudes on YouTube who made multi-millions of dollars just through YouTube. Not even getting into the sponsorships and everything yet. Just off Google AdSense. So what? He's just another millionaire amongst other millionaires. He can't buy their respect. He can't buy their admiration and shit. So what's the point? So now he needs to garner attention the only way he knows how. With the people that are already around him. That's it. Now, would that make the content better? Maybe. I argue that he'd probably be drunk more often, but whatever, tomato, tomato. It might make the content as best as it could be under the circumstances, because money's not a thing no more. But I think at the end of the day, they would literally burn through that money in a couple years, or at least within at least a decade. They'd burn through that money. They would burn right through it. And do you think Phil's the type of person to pay off each and every one of his obligations? Do you think he would have taken that money and spent it on the condo in Connecticut, even though he's not living there? You think Phil would pay off all of his credit cards clean and clear and then stop using them? Because now he wouldn't need to, because he'd have the liquid assets. You think Phil might pay off his loans? Do you think Phil might be smart enough to pay off the house in Washington? Pay it off clean and clear now that he owns it outright? You think he would do that? You think he would go ahead and pay the extra money to have it all, to get it spruced up, to go ahead and look at the integrity of the structure, see if he has any internal problems, do all the things that you need to do to kind of continue to bolster its ongoing value? Do you think he would do these things? Think about that. I won't even answer that question because you already know what my answer is. But do you think he would really do those things? And this is something that any logical individual would do. But do you think Phil would do it?
Like, what I do for my work is what I would be doing for fun on a daily basis. Now, would I do it the same way? Would I do it as much? Would I do it as often? Maybe not. But I would still be here, playing games, streaming, sharing those experiences with you. No lie, if I won the lotto, right now I'd still be live streaming. That's the kind of person I am. But anyway, I digress. No, I didn't win the lotto. But what a random day. And that's just a few things. There's actually a few other things, too, that happened. But I'm just saying, what a weird day it's been. What a wacky day. Now we're going to play Firewatch, so hopefully it goes well. Alright. So, I digress, obviously. I just wanted to share that story with you. A lot of random shit going on. I have no idea where the rest of the day is going to take me. Like I said, who knows? I could, my house could explode. Who knows? Who knows at this point? I could get an exclusive sponsorship with Selsun Blue. Then every video from now on, you'll see me washing my hair with their shampoo. I don't know what's going to happen. Alright, but anyway, ladies and gents. Out of control.
Hold on a second, I'm not sure actually when it ends.
I'll give you guys a small idea of what I've been going through today. It's been the most random friggin' day.
Okay, we're done. I just had to be on the safe side about that. All right, give me a second to go ahead and square up or square up the situation, I should say, and then we'll reconvene for final thoughts. I guess that's what pre-streams were like back in those days, which is funny Well, I'll save it for final thoughts. They didn't know how good they had it. Looking at now. I'll see you guys in a second. I really need to reach out to Raven on Twitter and because they've always given me recommendations for jazz stuff. And I had a nice little list basically compiled, and I don't know where the hell we ended up putting it before the whole quarantine shit. God damn it! All right, I'm sure I can reach out to them on Twitter though. All right, guys. So oh no, the mic was on the whole time. Anyway, I'm joking. All right, guys. So, what do we make of this? First things first. Thank you very much to James Cash for this video. I'll leave the link down in the description. The next couple of videos, there's at least a few videos that I have that's by James Cash. So this gives you guys a chance to go back to an older detractor video that maybe you guys haven't heard of or haven't seen. See what's in the comment section. See what people thought. This is it's the exploration, to say the very least. You know what I'm saying? You get to explore a little bit and see what some people thought of it and who's in that comment section and who isn't. That's always I always find that to be an interesting thing too. What some people / detractors may have thought back in those days. Okay, about randomness, the conspiracy theories, low views, and the Twitter nonsense. The Twitter nonsense, I think, is a regular thing, but you're seeing the escalation of it, and it's only escalated, to be honest, because he allowed it to. Losing views, that's no surprise. The business has been tanking for a long ass time. How he handled the situation with that check, that shit blows my mind. But you know, it is what it is. It got spurged on dumb shit. The conspiracy theories are theorists. That's no different than now. No biggie. The randomness, it sounds like he just had nothing to talk about. It sounds like he was literally just trying to make himself seem interesting, which is one of the things that people had said that that it's one thing that people had said about the pre-streams almost since its inception. It was just really him trying to make himself seem more interesting than he really was. Now, how much truth you want to give to that is all up to you, but it's a thing now, being that we have a 2-hour pre-stream compared to, you know, 20 or 15 to 20 to 30 minutes back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I've seen videos where people used to complain back in the day that the pre-stream was 15 minutes. Boy, they did not know how good they had it. They really didn't. But then again, look at all the gold dust we get at times, so that's a thing. Let's see here. That's pretty much it, guys. I will look into, as a side project, I would like to actually look into the situation back in 2016, well, 2015, 2016, about YouTubers who were getting like just, you know, large supplemental checks from YouTube and whatnot to compensate them for views. That's something I do actually want to look into, see what that's about. Or if any of you guys remember anything from that time period, by all means, please leave it down in the link. Leave it down in the description, or in the comment section, sorry. What the fuck am I talking about? In the comment section, I very much appreciate it. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Hopefully you guys have a good day, doing whatever it is that you're doing. Yet again, please check out the book that I have down in the description. There's an Amazon link. It's like probably one of the first or second links and whatnot, leads to our friend Paul's book and whatnot. If you guys are interested, for those who are interested, please check it out and whatnot. Him and myself would very much appreciate it. And just generally take care of yourselves, guys. You know what I'm saying? Just take care of yourselves. All right, man. Catch you guys later. Peace. Oh, well. This is DSP News 2nd edition. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'll just run about this bitch like, peace. I'm out. Oh, good times.